Have you ever wondered what true bravery looks like? It's not about being fearless. It's about facing fear head-on and pushing forward anyway. Today, I want to share a story that perfectly captures this spirit, a story of incredible courage, resilience, and the power of a promise. This is the story of Master Sergeant John F. Baker, Jr. and his extraordinary actions in the Vietnam War. Picture this. It's November 5th, 1966. The dense, humid jungles of South Vietnam are a confusing maze of green. A young Sergeant Baker, part of the 2nd Battalion, 7th Cavalry, 1st Cavalry Division, is on a reconnaissance mission. His company is suddenly ambushed by a much larger, well-entrenched Viet Cong force. Chaos erupts. The air fills with the deafening roar of gunfire and explosions. The Americans are outnumbered, outgunned, and pinned down. In these first terrifying moments, many soldiers would freeze. But not John Baker. He wasn't a senior officer. He was a 21-year-old sergeant, but his instincts for survival and leadership took over immediately. He saw his comrades falling around him, trapped in a deadly crossfire. His company commander was down, and the lead platoon was cut off, facing annihilation. Without a second's hesitation, Baker knew he had to act. He crawled through a storm of enemy fire, bullets whizzing past his head to reach the isolated platoon. He found the platoon leader and all the senior non-commissioned officers either killed or seriously wounded. The surviving soldiers, many of them young and terrified, were leaderless. Baker, under constant, intense fire, took command. He single-handedly organized a defense, directing the men's fire, and moving from one position to another to rally their spirits. But just holding their ground wasn't enough. They were running low on ammunition, and casualties were mounting. Baker saw a fallen comrade lying exposed in the open, just a few yards from an enemy machine gun nest. While others took cover, Baker ran out, braving direct fire, to drag the wounded soldier back to a safer position. He didn't just do this once. Over the next few hours, he would repeatedly expose himself to enemy fire, rescuing 8 wounded soldiers and carrying them to safety. Think about that for a moment. 8 times he ran into a hail of bullets, knowing each trip could be his last. He wasn't just doing his duty, he was demonstrating a level of selflessness that is hard to comprehend. He was driven by a deep-seated need to protect his brothers in arms. As the battle raged on, the situation grew more desperate. The enemy began using tear gas. The choking, blinding gas filled the air, disorienting the American soldiers. Many didn't have gas masks. Baker, seeing his men suffering and unable to fight effectively, gave his own gas mask to a comrade who was struggling to breathe. He then continued to fight, his eyes burning, his lungs on fire, all while helping others find cover and directing their defense. The enemy was closing in. Baker realized their only hope was to break through the enemy line and rejoin the rest of their company. He decided to lead a charge against the Viet Cong positions. With a small group of able-bodied men, he assaulted not 1 but 2 enemy machine gun bunkers that were pinning them down. He personally destroyed one with grenades, silencing the gun that had caused so many casualties. His actions created a small opening, a chance for survival. He then led the charge, fighting his way through the enemy encirclement. During this breakout, he carried 2 wounded soldiers on his own shoulders. Imagine the physical and mental strength that must have taken carrying 2 men while actively fighting for your life. They finally broke through and reached the main company perimeter. But Baker's fight wasn't over. The main force was also in a dire situation. Instead of seeking medical attention for his own exhaustion and minor wounds, he immediately rejoined the defense. He saw that the enemy was concentrating their attack on one section of the perimeter. The American machine gunner there had been killed. Once again, without orders, Baker ran through a barrage of mortar and machine gun fire, reached the gun, and began firing back at the enemy. For the next hour, he held that position, single-handedly repelling multiple enemy assaults. He was a one-man fortress, a symbol of defiance against overwhelming odds. When reinforcements finally arrived, the battlefield was a scene of devastation. But thanks in large part to John Baker's relentless courage, the isolated platoon was not wiped out. He had saved countless lives through his sheer force of will. He had refused to give up, refused to let his men be overrun, and refused to surrender to fear. 2 years later, on May 1st, 1968, Sergeant John Baker stood at the White House. President Lyndon B. Johnson placed the Medal of Honor, our nation's highest award for valor, around his neck. The official citation reads like something out of a Hollywood movie, but every word of it is true. It speaks of his conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action at the risk of his life, above and beyond the call of duty. But for John Baker, it was never about medals or glory. After the war, he remained a humble man, rarely speaking of his own heroism. When asked about that day, he often deflected the praise, focusing instead on the men he fought alongside and the ones who didn't make it home. He lived a quiet life, a testament to the idea that the greatest heroes are often the most unassuming. So what can we learn from Master Sergeant Baker's story? We learn that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. We learn that in the darkest of times, one person's determination can change everything. It's about making a choice, the choice to act, the choice to lead, and the choice to put others before yourself. His story is a powerful reminder that heroes are forged in moments of crisis. They are ordinary people who, when faced with extraordinary circumstances, do extraordinary things. John Baker's legacy isn't just a medal. It's the lives he saved and the incredible standard of bravery he set. It's a story that deserves to be told and retold. A story of a soldier who simply would not quit. Thank you so much for watching and for letting me share this incredible piece of history with you. God, if this story moved you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of remarkable individuals. And do not forget to share this video to help keep the memory of heroes like John Baker alive. We'll see you in the next one.